right, hello, and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Blades in the Dark this evening, tonight, whenever the hell this is. Yeah, we are hitting downtime number two. We've done it once before. We have it under our belt. We're doing it again, and then if we're if we're speedy enough, I think we might start on a new score. We'll see how it goes. We got some interesting consequences that we have to deal with, as not everybody made it out of the last score unscathed. And so we're gonna have to deal with those types of consequences. And I've already rolled the entanglement roll, and it's a doozy. So I'm really looking forward to springing that on them at any time. Who knows? Uh, Hey Logan, how's it going, man? So yeah, we should probably headbutt some more goats in the crotch. That definitely worked out well the first time. So we'll try it again. We'll try it again. So yeah, before we get started, we play all sorts of different games. Right now, we're playing Blades in the Dark every Saturday. We're playing Delta Green every Friday. This coming Monday, we're going to be doing Alien, and then we alternate every other Monday with Ultraviolet Grassland. So you can come check that out. I've also just started up another Delta Green game over on Garblag Games on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central. So you can come take a look at those. Those poor fools who don't even know how doomed they are yet. So yeah, it's good times. And then, yeah, let's get into and just introduce our characters really quick, and then we'll dive into our downtime and see how far we get today. So Ashley, you play Sethla, the Whisperer.
Yep.
Tell us about her.
She loves to dance.
Yeah.
I don't think she realizes just like how much shit she's in. She's got a friend. His name is Nerix. He's a professor ghost. Her rival is Skurlock. She previously was a Leviathan hunter. Her vice is pleasure, so she likes to go to raves.
Yeah.
Um,
Our underground catacomb raves that we've talked about. They're all over Duskwall. You just got to know where to look for them.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Good deal.
she knows where quite a few are at.
And you didn't suffer any kind of like major harm or trauma. You didn't trauma out or anything like that last score.
No, I did not.
No. No, you did open a door using your little ghost key, and you and
I
Uma traveled
did.
through it, which might have some consequences at some point.
It
Uh,
most definitely will.
can't wait to spring that one too. I love clocks. I like looking at the clocks and just be like, oh boy, I get to do this soon. Oh boy, I get to do that soon. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, bottom row, we've got a Mr. Cobb. Tell us about Oliver there, Long.
Yes, I'm Oliver. I am the slide of this operation, and that's pretty much the social manipulator. A little example of that is this hunch I carry with myself. It's only for show, as when I stand, I'm quite a tall man, and I have a little background in trade.
And what are your harms that you've got
Oh yeah,
piled up?
yeah.
Yeah, the first operation we had, I got headbutted by a goat, so I ended up exhausted and winded as level one. And just this last one, stabbed in the back by my former partner that I had in our drug operation because that was his territory. I forget what faction he was in.
The faction that stabs you in the
Brill?
back.
You're talking about Brill? I
Yeah,
don't think
Brill.
you know. I
Okay.
don't think you know exactly who he was working for. I think you guys got out of dodge. Like you got stabbed and like immediately went down. Sethla and Uma, like they pulled the parachute and they got the hell out of Dodge. As fast once the deal was made with the young noble Burnsides, and so you know that there was this other faction that was like sort of working around in there. Um, but I think you're not 100% sure who's gunning for you. You do know, however, that there are certain factions in the area that are that are actively working. So the unseen, but you're friendly with them. The Hive, you are not friendly with them. The Dimmer sisters, a little antagonistic between the two of you. Gondoliers, not sure yet. So there's a couple groups. So maybe he was working for one of those. Who knows? Who knows? We'll find out. Yeah. And then we've got Uma. Uma, our leech. Tell us about Uma, Melissa.
So Uma Dunville is the sole Eruvian of this group. She comes from a family known as the Flying Dunvilles that are all kind of high flyers and wrestlers and all of that good stuff. And she fractured her ankle during the last score, so she's going to need to do some healing during this downtime and drop that down from a fracture to something different.
Was it you or me who got something attached when we ran through the ghost store?
That was me.
It was Uma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little
Thanks
clock
for
on
the
that one.
reminder.
A little clock on that one.
Well, sorry,
I do.
brought
Clocks are
you
great.
Through on the fun adventure.
I
Hey,
think we should just put like a clock. Like it's a constantly recurring clock. Every time it fills up 4, a goat just comes out of nowhere and headbutts Cobb in the crotch. Like that's just all it is. It's out of nowhere. It doesn't matter where we're at. Boom. Could be on a boat in the middle of nowhere.
Just
and all
1,000
of a sudden,
bits.
just pops up. No, not even that. Just pops up. Something happens. Hey Bert, how's it going? Oh man. All right. So yeah, it's just a quick summary then. So you've got a clock at you, yeah, for sure. All right, let's do a quick summary. So we are the Gutter Witches. We are a 3-person crew. You all are vice dealers within the city of Duskfall. You have kind of staked out some of your hunting grounds within the Ease in Silkshore, one of the districts. You've been messing around in Silkshore, not always in your hunting grounds, but you've been messing around in Silkshore for your first 2 scores. You have kind of been taken under the wing in a way, or at least you've allied yourself with a stronger faction, with the Unseen. You've done some work for them. You've paid them off quite a bit when they allow you to freely move about in Silkshore and do your thing, so long as you continue to sort of defer to them in those ways. But you've also made a bit of an enemy in the Hive, which is more of a they attempt to be kind of an on the surface, like they look like they're legitimate, but really they have this like underbelly contraband network that they have as well. But they're also very powerful. It seems like the Hive and the Unseen are having a little bit of a war, and like the Unseen are coming to you to do various tasks from time to time, which netted you a barge, which you are trying to kind of convert or change its appearance in such a way. You spent some time collecting and forging some documents of ownership so that if you're ever kind of inspected, you have those, but you're also trying to like change its look, find ways that you can kind of renovate it to no longer be noticeable. And you also were able to collect a whole messload of product, including just Dream Powder and Black Lotus that you were able to sell on your more recent score, as you heard about a fraternity party from some folks over at I can't remember if it was Charter Hall or Duskfall Academy. I can't remember. But you heard a very wealthy noble by the name of Errol Burnsides. Him and his fraternity were like basically renting out all of the Spark Grounds in Silkshore for a special party. Uma has some family there that kind of helps you all find a way in, despite it being closed to the public. You had a fun little juggling encounter where some fancy juggling drew the interests of Errol Burnside's best friend.
I did that.
And you were able to convince them to convince Errol to have a private meeting with you. And in that private meeting, yeah, he was very amenable to buying some drugs. Sadly, Cobb had a run-in with somebody, his old partner, Brill, who stabbed him in the back and left him for dead. Fortunately, I think it was Vedran. Was it Veldrin? I think that was one of the people you were working with. Yeah, Veldrin.
Yes, my psychonaut friend.
Your psychonaut friend helps you get the proper masks and entry points into the place, and they also took Cobb out. Savoy, so Sethla Savoy and Uma, you all escaped with like some mercenary personal guards of the nobles, like kind of yelling that they knew who you were. So you got out, but now we're gonna deal with some downtime, which is going to be interesting. Now I've already done the entanglement roll. I think we're going to keep that private. It's fun to do that, so I have it set up and ready to go, and we'll just get into some downtime. Now you all. We did all our XP and stuff last time, so we should be good to go. So we're just like jumping right in. Remember that all of you get 2 actions that you want to do, and you can go in whatever order you want. If such time as it makes sense to spring a specific entanglement on you, I will. You also have plenty of coins, so some of you have personal coins, and you also have the stash for your crew, so you can pull from that. Spending coins can get you extra downtime activities. It can also increase effect on certain activities as well. So the potential of getting more. So let's work through it. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right, man. What are we thinking?
You'll find me already in the Vice Den that I'm at, Helen's Casino, the Silver Stag.
Okay.
As I was last seen stabbed and found myself woken up in an alley somewhere. I was taken care of, but not to full extent. So
Okay.
I'm in here just throwing my coin and trying to waste away because of this pain.
Okay.
And
All right. Go ahead.
yeah, and I want to, I guess, ask around people in here if they know any of good people, good healers that don't really have any jobs, want a little side gig.
All right. I like it. So this is like the place that you hang out for your vice too, right? Like, isn't this one of the things you do? You kind of gamble and waste away.
gambling's
Okay.
money.
All right. And so you're just looking for, does anybody here know of a healer? Because you're taking the acquire asset, I think. Is that
Yeah,
that was the
acquire
idea?
asset. Get a
Okay.
find a little cohort.
All right. So basically we're gonna get a cohort. It's gonna essentially be we're gonna be able to use this physiker through like basically one score. So we'll have him for a little bit, which means Uma could also tap into her as well. Awesome. So we need to do a roll. So we're rolling the cruise tier. You guys are at 0, unfortunately. So you would either roll 2 dice, take the lower, or you can spend some coins to temporarily increase and then kind of do better if you want. So to acquire the asset, roll the cruise tier. The result indicates the quality of the asset that you get using the cruise tier as a base. So do you want to just do roll 2 and get and take the lowest?
Okay, yeah, I'll just do
I
that.
say a tier 1 is probably a minimum you would need. Actually, no, I guess a tier 0 would probably be fine too.
Yeah, I'll just
Really
roll.
good.
I'll just roll
Okay.
2 here.
Yeah, go for it. So we'll just 2d6, take the lower. Let me know what you get.
I got a 2.
Okay, so you can spend some coin now if you want to increase the to raise the result. So you're gonna want to spend at least 1 coin here, maybe 2.
That'll make him a tier 0.
Yeah, 1 will get him to a tier 0 because at 2 right now he's actually like this physiker is going to be your tier -1, which is a -1 tier. And I think 0 would be minimum. So 1 coin, maybe 2. It's up to you.
I'll toss a coin.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So you're asking about this this casino, and you're kind of a mess as you come because you probably wake up in the alleyway of the casino, and you still got your blood stains on you, like your coats and tatters, right? Your blood stains are all over it. You look terrible. Like you're limping and you're kind of hunched over, but not because you're faking it, but because like it actually hurts. Your back really hurts. The blade really hurts. Whoever it was, probably Veldrin, at least patched you up enough that you didn't bleed out. So there was that at least, but didn't stitch you up. It's still like you reach back and you can kind of still feel like the wetness on the blood. You stumble inside this casino and they know you and they see you and like, some kind of hostess at the front door is like, "Oh, back for more. Oh my God, what the hell on earth happened to you? You can't be walking around in here like this. It's goodness." But fortunately, we'll say that they're able to kind of hook you up with somebody. We'll call your physiker Galena Knightley, Dr. Knightley. And doctor is more of a honorary title than a legitimate one, as you really are only getting somebody who is probably like has a cursory knowledge of medicine, and like they're not really like some in-depth apothecary or in-depth healer, and they probably like work in kitchens and they're really good with knives and stuff like that, and so that's why. And so like this is your hack surgeon. Okay, so you've got a very like basically a barber surgeon is essentially what you have. Maybe even less than that. That might be even a nice thing. All right. Okay. Do you want to immediately jump into recovery then while we're here?
Yeah, I'll just go up and talk to them. I got a couple crew members myself. Take a look at.
Okay. She holds up her she's one of those. I'm gonna call her a cook, a butcher. I think this is funny. And she's gonna unwrap her like all of her knives, which if you can tell there's like a cleaver, there's a carving knife, there's a big old poking fork, there's like what looks like a sharpener, and she pulls out her knives and stuff and starts sharpening. Okay, I can help you in that problem. Cool, sister. And she's like she's picking off
those.
she's picking hairs off of the blades and stuff. They're not particularly well cleaned. But we can set you up in the back here. Just come on into my office. And you wander back into her office, and it's basically a butchery. And so you just see slabs of meat hanging here and there, and like there's a big old like chop, like kind of a countertop that's got stains of blood and everything all over it. You look over in the corner, there's like some sort of garbage cans with like old bones and things, and kind of discarded gristle here and there of whatever it is that they're using. Not that they have a lot of meat here, so you start to wonder, where exactly is this meat coming from? Like, what is this meat of? Maybe it's goats. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's people who didn't pay Helena at the Silver Stack. You're not really sure. But let's dive into your recovery. So recovery is a clock system. So we're gonna do. So it's like it's a 4-tier clock. A 4-segment clock, I should say, and based upon the success of the roll of your healer, you'll fill up certain amounts, and every time you fill the clock, you downgrade your harm by 1. Okay, so I think I'll be generous because this is the first time. I'm gonna give her, instead of like doing like the roll 2 and take 0, I'll say she has 1d6 because it's at a play. I'm gonna give her a bonus die simply because it's you specifically mentioned your casino that you go to for Vice, so I'm gonna give her a bonus die in this roll, and so 1d6 is all you're getting. So it's a 4. That means you can fill up 2 segments on this clock for this action. So it hasn't quite filled. So do you want to burn a coin to do this again?
Oh, that sounds good. I'll take the 2.
Or you can burn a coin to increase that to increase the number of segments you do. You can always do it that way as well.
You said you're rolling 2 and taking the higher. Is what you're doing?
No, I'm giving. I gave you a
one.
bonus.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I gave you a bonus because like you included like your Vice, and I just like that. It's like the fact that you tied in a unknown location. It's not like she's coming to your place to do it.
Right.
She's in her own laboratory.
I'll give her another coin, see what she can do for me.
Okay, so you want her to just do this again?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so you stay a little bit longer than you normally would expect to, and you got a 6 this time.
Oh.
Yay.
Which is 3 segments, which will fill up the clock once. Okay. And so that means downgrade all of your current harm by 1. So if you're at a level 2 harm, move that down to a level 1. If you're at a level 1 harm, get rid of it, etc. And then your new clock is at 1. Is already got 1 filled.
Nice.
So basically she lets you stay here. You sleep on top of this like bloody butcher block countertop. She stitches away at your wounds. You're also pretty battered. You took a little, you're kind of winded. Had to do some strange running here and there. You tried to like, maybe you were dragged across the pavement a little more roughly than you should have, but like she manages to give you some kind of salve. And when she explains what it is, she's like, it's not really a salve. It's more like a marinade, but it just has the dual effect of making the bruises and such heal quicker. So yeah, your battered or exhausted one kind of goes away. You wake up, you can feel the blood. It's finally stopped bleeding. There are stitches. Maybe you hold it up to a mirror at one point. It's the most awful, like it's not very pretty, but the wound is definitely stitched up. So yeah, you've got your level 1 harm stabbed in the back. You still got your stab wound. And I'll go and we'll hit somebody else and we'll come back. So Sethla or Uma, you have something in mind?
Go ahead.
I do. So
All right.
I want to do my long-term project where
Okay.
I've been befriending Anya.
Your blue coat friend, yeah.
Yeah. So Sethla takes her down to the Spark grounds because currently they're hosting like this like civilian competition of where it's basically like King of the Hill and like almost like a Thunderdome kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's teams of 2, so it's me and Anya versus the rest, and we're gonna bond over the violence.
Okay. So it sounds to me like you're gonna have to do a roll for this. So what skill are you looking to do to convince her to come to this event and participate in this event with you?
Oh, I was thinking of it in the event of like we're there and we're skirmishing together. But oh no. That sounds like sway or consort. If I'm convincing her to come with me.
I mean, I mean, you're not friends yet. So I think that
Fair.
like maybe you need to convince her first to go with you, and I think that that's what I don't know. What do the rest of you think? Do you think that's fair?
Did you start this last time? So do you already have like a tick towards becoming her
There's a
friend?
tick towards it, but
I got
remember it's
2.
contested too as well.
Yeah.
It's a contested clock with her partner kind of figuring you out, that type of thing.
I'd say that's fair.
Okay. So yeah, do you want to do consort or do you want to do sway?
They both. I don't have anything in either, so.
Okay. That sounds like fun.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could do the same thing like normal. You can do like, you can push yourself, take some stress, that kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing. If I push myself right now, I get an immediate trauma.
Okay.
I'm 1 stress away from trauma.
Okay. All right. So you could do, I mean, I'll say, I mean, the devil's bargain to me is that I think Anya's partner is going to follow you all there and will make and will try to do her best to like kind of outperform. And so what I'll do is basically I'll roll and see how many, how much like ticks on her like opposing clock that gets.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say a devil's bargain could be like she goes, but maybe she gets hurt in the process, and then like the roll is either like she gets hurt but she still had fun, or she gets hurt and she did not have fun and doesn't like you.
Oh no. No, I like the one where I have to compete against.
Okay. All right.
other
So
partner.
yeah. All right. So go ahead and roll. So you got 1 die. Then roll your 1 die.
Risky
Since you
standard.
don't have. Yeah, risky standard's fine.
Okay. Oh,
Well,
I do it.
Okay.
Yay!
So that's. Oh my God, that's 3 segments on the clock. In this particular case. So, describe how well the two of you, like how you're just describe like the event, describe how it happens, like just explain like not only do you convince her to come, like, oh, that's okay,
She's like, yeah, that
time
sounds
off.
like, she's like, that sounds kind of weird. So at first when we get there, she's kind of like, this is bizarre, but I'm here for it. And then finally we get like our adrenaline pumping, because like we managed to be like, most of the people there are average folk, and we actually climb around and stuff. So we get to the top of the dome first, and we're back to back. We're synergized as we're just beating people down with like those inflatable baton things and just knocking them back to the bottom. And then it hits to a point where like the timer countdown ends and we're in first place and we like high five, and it's just really dramatic. I don't like that. You rolled dice.
Oh no, I was just rolling the part. Remember, the partner was going to go and start to perform as well. That's all I was
got
doing.
Scared.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so Anya's partner kind of follows you along, and this is like her work partner. Part of this isn't as much like a competing for her attentions. It's more just like suspicious of your intentions, right? Like who is this person showing up? Remember, because there was that one moment where she wasn't sure if maybe you were doing something, like you were kind of trying to mess a little bit with Anya's mind, tapping into the ghost field and stuff, doing some attunement and everything, and like the partner kind of got a little suspicious. So she follows you for a bit, and you can tell that she's there for a significant period of time, kind of watching you and watching you and watching you. And maybe like she engages a little bit with Anya, maybe she doesn't, but you can tell at one point that she kind of gets called away on something. You can see that she's sort of pulled away, and you're able to have kind of an uncontested series of time with Anya. So
nice.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well on that clock. You're doing okay. Not all the way there yet, but you're doing pretty well.
Nice.
Okay, so then for Uma, what is Uma doing with her downtime while this is happening?
So Uma's question for Oliver is, how do you let me know that you have found a physiker?
You actually stumble upon me, finding me. You'll have to find me to find the physiker, sort of deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
So
I'll
me
be in
and
the
my
casino.
fractured
I'm not
ankle.
leaving it at all.
Well, you do have your friend Veldrin's the one who carried him away, so all you really have to do is track Veldrin down. Like, where'd you leave him? That
Okay.
kind of thing.
So I
Jeez.
will find my way then, hobbling.
Like, yeah, we were helping him out, but he just kept saying, "Take me to the stag, take me to the stag." He just mumbled and mumbled and mumbled, so we took him to the stag. And then they wouldn't let us bring him inside because he was unconscious, and they preferred to take the unconscious ones and throw him out in the alley, so we put him out in the alley. There were like 3 or 4 other people out there. It seemed fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose then I will hobble my way over
Okay.
there.
So you go in, ask around a little bit, and yeah, I guess the front, the hostess, the front person, manages to lead you back towards their medical facilities, and they walk you through the kitchen, like steam and stuff. You can the smell of like fermenting mushrooms, and eventually you're led back into what very much looks like a butchery shop, and you can see like on one of these huge countertops, without any kind of cushion, no pillow, nothing, just sort of Oliver Cobb, shirt off, rolled on his side, big old patch on his back. You can tell, by his kind of length sprawled out, his feet dangling over the one end. You can hear him snoring away, and you can see this fairly heavy set woman, really dirty. She's got like an apron on that's got blood all over it. You're not sure exactly where it's from. It absolutely reeks in here. You can see torn up clothes on the ground from where she probably ripped had to rip some of Cobb's clothes off a bit here and there. And also, she's got her array of butcher / physical tools that, again, haven't really been cleaned. But she looks up at you and she's like, "What? I'll tell it one day. I'm a busy girl." Ugh.
How is he doing?
Well, he's gonna live for a bit, I think. Two tiny fingernail slices to the left, and he might have been a goner, that one. Yeah.
I didn't even get a good look at who it was. Just
I reckon he
this.
probably didn't either. It's rotting his back.
that's very true. This was my own doing, and I'll just sort of hold up my fractured ankle, which
And she's like, "Are you here to finish the job on him?"
I oh goodness, no, not at all.
"Oh, you want me to cut off your foot?"
I would actually prefer that you do something to keep it in place, and maybe it will stay
Okay.
in one. No,
Well, I'm better
other
with
you have
meats.
other tools other than a knife, right? That's not just the one,
Oh, sure. And you see her like she steps behind what looks like a large table, and she starts rummaging around in a cabinet, and she pulls out what looks like a really big meat tenderizer. This might be able to get it back into place. Just go ahead and just take a seat right here.
and it was just gonna mutter sort of to herself about like when you've got a hammer, everything's a nail. Hopefully this works. Okay. And so she's gonna kind of reach into her vest. I imagine that she's got some sort of a I always forget which is a mortar, which is a pestle, but like the something to bite down on, because she thinks this is gonna
Okay.
hurt. So
She's gonna
just
come
put
over,
steel
and she's like
herself.
above your head as you're leaning back. She's like, "Something for the pain," and she's got some like brown jug, and she's like holding it over your face, like she'll pour it in your mouth. You want a little bit for the pain?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
Some kind of rot gut. Who knows?
Yep, I'm all right. And so she's just gonna like,
Okay. Just goes right to the core, it just heats you right up. And so she comes over. She's like, All right, here we go. She starts stretching. She's a big, beefy woman. She's like stretching. You hear her back crack. Oh, that was a good one. And she gets like the mallet up like it's a baseball stance and just swings right down like Kathy Bates from Misery. You hear a crack as your ankle just flops around like it's a sack of jelly. Why don't you go ahead and roll a d6?
That's a 5.
Okay, a 5 will get you 2 segments of your healing.
And I will spend a coin.
To do it again?
Yep.
Okay. So she'll stay at it. Go ahead and roll another one.
4.
4 will... 4 will also get you 2 segments. That will completely fill up, and you can go ahead and downgrade your harm by 1.
Okay, so fractured ankle to...
It's still a fractured ankle. It's just tier 1.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
Okay. So, another round. What are we doing? What else are we thinking?
I'm thinking I need to acquire an asset.
Okay.
I am looking for an etiquette class.
Etiquette class?
Etiquette.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to level up my consort. I have nothing in consort's way, so she wants to learn.
Well, it sounds more like train though. You could do train the train activity for this, but we can flavor
Okay,
it.
I wasn't sure if I needed to find somebody.
No, I think you can just.
But that can totally be your training, though. You still take an
Yeah,
asset.
you go to an
that's
etiquette
what I
class.
It's just not
for sure.
it's just not an asset, but that's how you train, which I think is just wonderful.
So
Yeah.
Imagine if I'm training. So I head and I find the stuffiest like tea party to start with. And so Sethless sitting down and she's got her pinky up as she's holding her tea and she's trying to learn the proper place settings of what fork is for what. And like the lady,
and this very stern woman periodically hits you with something right on the knuckles.
with a ruler.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, sorry. And then it's like, but I'm in a class with children.
Mm-hmm.
I am very clearly the oldest woman there, and
the table's low to the ground, and it's like children's seats, and there's like Seth like kind of
there's
straddling in a weird way. Yeah.
As I'm just trying to get up to speed.
Okay. So you can go ahead and mark 1 XP on for an attribute or playbook advancement, whatever you prefer. So in this case, it sounds like an attribute.
I'm looking for resolve, so since that's something that our crew is specialized in, I can get 2.
Okay. Oh yeah, because it's one of the hawker stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else do we want to do? We've got plenty of coins if you want to start doing some extra ones, indulgence and vice, stuff like that.
How's that heat reduction?
So basically you just describe what you do. There's no specific thing other than just like, what is it you're doing? And then you roll an action. So like the example in the book is like, maybe you consort with a friend who's a blue coat, or you roll command to try to instill fear into the local citizens to get them to shut up. Whatever it is that you think might work. Their heat right now, Beowulf, is very, very high. They are at
1 wanted in
2,
5,
3,
6,
4,
7,
5,
8.
6, 7. They have 8 heat, and they're at tier 1 want. They have 1 level of wanted.
Yeah.
It's been a rough 2 scores, but Luke. So it's just like you kind of just describe what you want to do.
Okay. How about sway like people that visit Vice Dens often? Maybe I could sway the locals there to like give false reports.
Okay.
For our crew.
Okay. Do you want to do some public relations work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've been spending a lot of time at the Stag, both healing and gambling away your earnings. We'll say flavor gambling, and you're trying to, in the course of like having certain games of chance, eating, hitting the bar, whatever it might be around this casino. You're trying to like drop hints and drop words the whole time. You know, maybe you're trying to cast aspersions on other people. You hear tons of rumors, by the way. You hear rumors about like how like the this canal leviathan just completely took out this bridge of the lonely. Like it just showed up, ripped a couple people apart, ripped down the bridge, and if not for like the sudden arrival of like, you know, spirit wardens and like they might have, you know, who knows what else it could have done. And they managed to, you know, so there's all that kind of talk, and like they're looking for who's responsible. Like somebody was messing around. There were dead bodies, and so, and maybe you hear rumors about how people were passing by and they saw like this spirit ordinance kind of sort of attuning or consorting in some ways with like the ghosts of these people, pulling them up out of the water as best they could, and trying to kind of recreate the scene and track them down. You also hear plenty of rumors about how apparently there was some sort of assault on a noble at the Spark grounds. That this noble family, this young noble and his fraternity, these good young boys, were just trying to have nice, clean, wholesome fun by watching, you know, the high-flying Spark Flyers, and some kind of group of cretins came there and were passing out drugs, and then tried to kidnap him at one point. And so you're hearing all these things that you know are about you, and it doesn't seem like everyone knows exactly who's responsible, but maybe you're trying to...
Yeah, I'll overhear one of those conversations. Cretans trying to kidnap a lord? No. I was there. I saw it myself. Look what they did to me. I'll show them this little back wound I got.
Okay.
Try to get the heat off myself, sort of deal. Okay.
So go ahead and roll. So it's an action roll. So what do you want? What action are you looking to do?
I guess it's more consort.
Okay, consort. Sure. Risky standards, fine. And then the question is, do you want to do any kind of like pushing? Do you want a devil's bargain? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll push for one more day.
If you want a devil's bargain, I think you kind of already set it up. You just said you were there, and I feel like the fact that you just admitted to being a witness potentially of this attempted kidnapping, I'm going to say that that's going to get that word's going to get around. Not necessarily a bad thing, not like, you know, in the sense that you did something, but like the word of you being present at this attempted kidnapping, abduction of a noble will get around. That's the devil's bargain. That could be a good thing too.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'll actually take that over the pushing.
Okay. All right. Take that. And so yeah, roll your pool.
At a 5.
Okay, so a 5 will reduce heat by 2. You can spend a coin to kick it up to a 6, which would reduce it by 3 if you wanted.
Just a 2 is fine.
Okay, perfect. You can go ahead and hit on the character sheet if you want for the crew.
Got it.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm just writing a note to myself. Someone might come to question Cobb about the abduction of a noble. Thank you for taking that. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Who's got something else in mind that they would like to do?
So Uma's going to be back home, kind of resting up this ankle. And she is going to get a visit from her mother, Navra. And it's...
Okay.
She was coming to visit for her own reason, and then you're going to get sort of the, you know, kind of tisking of, you know, a mom who, you know, suddenly sees her, you know, grown child with a broken ankle of, you know, what have you gotten yourself into? And, you know, we do all of our high flying acts and we don't even get injured, and you're going around. I thought you were doing science stuff. I don't understand. How do you get broken ankles when you're doing science stuff? And, you know, so you get the whole, you know, all of that going on.
Okay.
But the reason that she came is because there is a financier kind of within, kind of some of the carnival groups, um, the Whitcomb family.
Okay.
And they've got some sort of mysterious illness that's kind of befallen members of the family. And she's like, we sent you to school to learn about those science things, and maybe you could come up with some sort of potion or something that could help them.
So this is a long-term project, sounds like?
Yes.
Okay,
So it's
beautiful.
a crafting.
Okay, I'm gonna put it at, we'll call it a 6. Yeah, we'll call it a 6, I think. Well, you tell me how we could do a roll. Why don't we just do let's just do a fortune roll to see how severe it is.
Okay.
And then based upon the severity of the illness, I'll set the clock and like the tier. So basically higher is better. We'll do the same breakdown. 1 to 3 it'll be very serious. 4 to 6 it'll be, 4 to 5 it'll be moderately serious, and then 6 it will be not too difficult at all. So basically higher is better for you in terms of the fortune rolls. So I'm just gonna do roll a d6 here. So 1 to 3. This is very serious. This is a very serious thing. So we're gonna treat it like a big 8 clock. And so
Alrighty.
you talk to your mom. She tells you about it. Maybe you go and you visit the Whitcomb family, who probably will say they don't live in Silkshore. If they're nobles, they likely are going to live at sort of maybe a different district. We'll say that they live. Where do we want to have them live? Let's say that they are over in the Brightstone district. We'll say, and you visit them, and you're still limping from your ankle. But it's not as bad, it wasn't as painful, but it's still slowing you down. But you're carrying all your all chemical gear and such. Maybe your mother is kind of coming with you just to make sure to make introductions. You are greeted by the help, some kind of like servant, like a butler type, who looks you over up and down, sees the deplorable condition of your clothing and such that is probably still got bloodstains and things here and there from when you got whacked in the foot with a meat tenderizer, but will kindly not bring it up in conversation, but you can tell from the face, oh, come this way, please, and will very snootily lead you to what has effectively turned into like a sick room. And you can see that there's one of the members is very, very ill, coughing up blood. You can see that they have like these thin veiled like bed sheets that are kind of covering around a 4-post bed to try to keep any sort of infection from spreading to a degree. You can hear down the hall some of the other members of the family are also in their rooms here and there, and there's a cough every now and then. When you take a look at we'll call it your mom's here. We'll say the mother of the Whitcomb family is the one that's probably most sick currently, maybe the first one to show signs. But when you see her face is very gaunt. Her complexion is certainly paler than probably is her normal kind of. There doesn't look like the blood is flowing too much. She might be anemic. She looks very weak. The butler, she hasn't eaten for some time. We've had to force broths down the madam's throat to ensure that she maintains some sense of strength. We've had numerous physicians of far higher quality than you, but for some reason she insisted that we consult with your mother, who says you are a person of certain talents.
Well, it seems as if no one else has been able to solve this problem.
It is very
might as well
rude
try.
to interrupt someone when they're talking.
Well, I mean, you can talk to me, or I can just run some tests and take some things and just get myself out of here, because I'm clearly offensive to you being in your home. So the less talking we do, the quicker I'll be gone.
You see him like turn his face. He's so pissed right now, but he's trying to hold it in. But then when you mention you being gone sooner, he's like, perhaps we've found something we agree on at last. The shorter time you can remain within the home, the better.
Could you be so kind as to get me a towel, a tray, and a glove if you have it?
You don't bring your own gloves with you. What kind of dog and pony show are you running here?
And a towel and a tray. Thank you.
He sniffs a bit. I never. And he kind of excuses himself, and he goes and he collects it. Okay, let's go ahead and let's roll an action. What do you, I'm assuming Tinker is probably what you wanted to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I mean, you roll whatever you want, but I think you were talking about going that route anyway. So Tinker, I don't see any reason to adjust the difficulty of this to what it is. The difficulty is mainly the clock. So I'm just gonna say risky standard.
And then can I improve it a bit by kind of saying that I kind of brought the right items with me? So kind of when I came here, I made sure that I've got for
you're tier 0, right? I mean, we're tier 0, so I think the items that you would be bringing wouldn't be particularly high level. But do you have any kind of like alchemical things that you can default to? Because I know Leech has a certain series of chemicals that they can default to. Because you don't have the physic or talent. Because you went a different talent for that. So do you have any? Is there anything in there that might help?
Taking a peek right now. What I've got
Darn it, Logan.
Leech. Generally leech items.
Because we can make the case like if you have like some sort of like sleepless sleep capsule or something like that, that could help with like the examination or whatever it is. Like I'm willing to do that if there's something default. If there's a grenade you want to bring and just shove it right into her mouth so her head explodes, I'm gonna worry about it.
I'm willing to maybe spend a coin to say that I stopped by an apothecary on the way over and got that.
Okay. So we'll just give you a choice. We'll say. Well, you can always just roll it, and then you can spend the coin after, because this is like a long project thing to increase the level that you get, and so that might increase the segment. So you can always can always wait to spend the coin, roll, because if you roll a crit right now, like you roll a crit, so like because it's different than just doing the action. It's like the result of your roll determines how many segments are filled.
I got
You only have one. You only have one in Tinker.
Yep.
Okay. So if you wanted, you can burn a coin to get to a critical. So a critical would fill 5 segments. Right now, you're filling 3.
Sure.
Okay. So you have filled 5 of the required 8 segments, which means you have 3 segments left. That's a hell of a lot of progress. And while you've managed to certainly help the madam in her pain, like her cough has certainly diminished. She's sleeping, which is great. She hasn't really slept. You haven't quite been able to isolate a specific cause of their infection.
I feel like I got everything that I wanted to from her, kind of all of the samples and whatnot that I would need from her, so that I can go back to kind of and do some alchemical experimentation myself.
Okay, beautiful.
Next downtime.
All right, this is awesome. What else do you guys want to do? I love it. You guys are bringing like little stories and stuff. This is great. I shouldn't have said anything. Now everyone's quiet.
No, I think are you guys done with downtime?
Yeah, my downtime's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many coins do you guys got left?
I have none.
I have my 1, and then I already moved 1 to my stash.
Okay. Did you want to indulge in vice at all, Ashley?
No, I don't have a trauma yet.
Yeah, but if you trauma out, you will be out of the... So like you said, you're 2 away from...
Shit. Yeah.
Which means like all you basically, if you take 2 stress, like you're out and you don't get to finish it. So
yeah. Okay, yeah, I will. That's a good idea.
How many
I'll-
coin do we have left? Because I'm in the same position.
I think you needed to spend one to do wasn't that your third action?
You did. So
Oh yeah. Okay. So I will
Okay.
probably need to not spend the coin, and I'll just need to take the 6 so that I have a coin to go
Well,
deal with
then-
vice.
Or we could spend the one coin we have remaining in the gutter witches, so you could have done that.
No, I'll do that, and then you can use the last coin.
Well, no, I have one of my own.
Ah.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
so I'll spend mine.
Okay. All right. So Ashley, you said you're going to be indulging in your vice.
Yes. Jeff wanted me to go here, right? Oh.
Sorry, I muted myself. So you head over to your usual place of vice indulging, which, if I recall, is the Vale Social Club at the
Yeah.
night market, right?
Yeah.
You head down into the deep catacombs beneath
Just hear-
you. Second or third sub basement, you already hear the strange thumping. When you get to the large door that enters into the area, you can see the strange spark-like flickering that they kind of create their own strobe lights. As everyone trance-like is down here, clearly they're on something, Dreambat or Black Lotus, who knows what they're on, but they're on something. Maybe you are too. But you're kind of
Just grooving.
dancing here and there when you hear a sort of sudden scream from somewhere within the flickering light, and you see a couple people fall on the ground. Others are still dancing. You're not sure. Maybe someone just had their flippers out and knocked someone down. You're not really sure. But it's then that, as you're kind of standing there almost affixed in this corner of the room, as the flickering of the spark light doesn't seem to be, stopping, you see this strange figure starting to approach you. As everybody else just kind of seems to blend away, and you just become affixed on this fairly tall, slender figure who's coming at you like beat by beat with the flickering of this spark of the sparklight strobes. And so like they're 15 feet away from you, and then suddenly poof, they're 12, and then poof, they're 8, and then poof, they're 4, and then they're right in front of you, and you can see that they have this very tall, slender look to them, kind of a profile similar to that of a bird. They have these glowing star-like eyes, and as they're standing in front of you, almost backing you into a corner of this club, and no one seems to really be paying attention to you at all, as they're either dancing, lost in their own drug-fueled hazes, whatever it might be. These leathery wings just not fully unfurl, but begin to kind of unhitch as you watch this like ink black skin sort of crawling and writhing all over, like it's shifting, constantly moving, as if there's like a million small creatures that are crawling beneath it. And as they kind of close and corner you down, you can see these tiny little eyes begin to pop out of places, almost like acne here and there.
Okay.
And these frantic, like golden irises are just constantly shifting, steering, peering at you. There's no pupil, just like this golden iris and like this bright, luminous sclera. And this process is kind of continuing. It's like all of a sudden, like there's like 12 different eyes that are popping up here and there. And you can hear suddenly next to you one of the little spark engines that causes the strobes just grinds to a halt and doesn't start flickering any further. Then another one, as it steps even closer to you, as it shuts down, you hear the grinding of gears. You hear like the flickering of switches. You see, like, you look over and like the lever just begins to almost like just sort of bend as if it's under some kind of heat. And now suddenly your corner of the room is the only part of this entire large catacomb that is not suddenly strobing with light. And you have this strange private shadow as this demonic figure stands in front of you. I think Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, we're
Roll
fine. We're just
sand.
gonna we're gonna go with it. Yeah, it's definitely rolling sand. So you see this figure just kind of lean down, has like this almost like a snout-like face with a beak, and you're not sure if it's the drugs, if you're getting a contact high or what it might be, or if you are quite truly face to face with this particular creature, but they are here in front of you, having like just manifested somewhere within the room and closed in on you.
Okay. Does me having a demon bane charm affect this at all?
Well, they're not trying to harm you. They're just like cornering you. They're just kind of
Oh,
peering
okay.
at you right now. They're not hurting you. They're not attacking you. They're just kind of looking at you, cornering. But yeah, you can think about that if you want. But then they kind of lean down. Their head extends, and they say, "You are the ones. Yes, you shall do." And then you see like the wings kind of unfurl a bit.
Uh-huh.
And you can
Sethla
tell.
thinks she's having a trip, so she's
Yeah,
not
you definitely
stopping
could.
anything.
Yeah, it's okay. That's fine. Yeah, definitely start thinking like you will do. Constantly turning its head almost like till it's like entirely horizontal. All of the eyes just sort of in unison, like staring at you, looking you up and down. And you can see it's like the eyes begin to all like suddenly tear and start crying. This sort of these milky tears. And this figure has like what looks like some kind of, now you know how like cops wear like the gun straps
Like
over
a
top
holster?
of it. Yeah, they've got like a holster strap. They start pulling looks like various vials and such from this holster that they have, this
Okay.
black holster, and they start filling up these vials with the tears of this of all of their eyes that are kind of pouring out. And they say, Phil, you will take this and you will put it in your small little ingredients, your drugs, your powders, your little tiny tonics, and you will disperse it across the city, across the districts. You will do this for me. And kind of starts handing them over, and you're getting like these two giant vials that are just like these huge milk that's almost like glowing and illuminating. You will do this too for Alexis, will you not? Just sort of looking down as you realize you've drawn the attention of a demon.
Yeah. I think in her addled mind, she would definitely agree.
Okay. All right. And so you take them, you're agreeing, nodding. Good. You'll make Alexis very happy. Very happy. And then you can see he starts to turn around and just slowly walk away as the entire room is still dancing, and every time they pass by one of these like strobe filters, it just grinds down to darkness until they're just not there. They just kind of blend in with the shadow at one point and then disappear.
Okay.
So so I rolled an entanglement and I got demonic notice. So you
Yep.
basically demonic notice or show of force. And with how much you guys have been like tapping into the tune, causing Canal Leviathan and the pop out,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff, felt like demonic was the way to go with this one.
Yep.
So yeah, they want you to spike your drugs with whatever these tiers are.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, good to know. So mechanically, you get the choice. Like you can do what they say. You can ignore them, which would cause a -3 rep, or
Okay.
you can figure out some other way to deal with them. But that's essentially the way. So you can do what they want, and then just do what they want, and like there might be consequences, fallout, who knows. You can just hide out, so your crew lays low for a while, so as not to draw the attention of the demon any further, or if you can think of some other way that you want to handle it. Yeah. But you've summoned a Canal Leviathan, you've opened ghost doors, you've manipulated people's minds to do things that they didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think your crew has
Yeah, we've definitely gotten some notice.
Okay. So, does anybody have any other downtime activities they want to do?
Yeah, so Uma will spend the final coin that we have as a crew.
Do I need to roll?
Nope. Not for that. Oh, you need to roll for your indulge vice. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, you roll dice equal to your lowest attribute rating, which is what?
1 insight.
Okay. So roll that, and you clear stress equal to your highest die result.
Wow. 1.
Ooh,
Okay. So you reduce 1 stress.
that sucks.
Fuck.
Okay. Uma, what were you doing?
So I am going to the Golden Plum, hobbling my way over there.
Okay. Got to eat some cakes, some puddings.
Some puddings. Yep.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna say that this week on the menu, I'm gonna say that we have got some
Blood pudding. There's a blood
I'm
pudding
sorry?
over there. There's a blood pudding, right? There's got to be. After everything you've seen, there's got to be a blood pudding on the pudding salad bar thingy that we have. It's a pudding bar, right?
It is.
Yeah. I love that. I'm just imagining a pudding bar in real life. Just being able to go and just like scoop up tapioca, chocolate, vanilla, whatever, butterscotch, all
Just
that.
all in the same bowl.
Bread pudding. Oh, bread pudding.
Yeah, except it's like rice and fish stew and mice meat. Like that's what they've got.
But it's flavored, you know? Like they find a way to flavor it. Okay. So you head there and we'll say it's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday. That's a joke. Yeah, you look at the bar.
Is there an old
you look-
man sitting next to me?
Yeah, in fact, he's making love to his tonic pudding in gin pudding.
In gin. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're at the Plum. What was it Chef Roselle? I think was her name is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
So the chef's special is up. Okay. So she comes out and she's got her apron on. She's got her big fancy hat. And she's going to come up to you and she's going to say,
You're one of my best customers, sweetheart. You're just always here and you're always eating. And you're just, I've got a new concoction I was hoping you might partake in. I
I'd
call
love
it.
to.
It's called blood pudding.
Well, okay.
I don't want you to get too discouraged. There's more ingredients in it than just blood.
Well,
Many things. This is more of a savory pudding. It's less of a dessert pudding.
As are many of yours. I've come to expect that variety. I'm always up for whatever you have for me to try.
You're such a sweetheart. Thank you so much. You can have one of these, and then you can go ahead and get a free run at the pudding bar afterwards. But I definitely want your honest opinion of it. And if you have any strange symptoms or reactions to it later, make sure you let me know, just in case.
Yes, I always do.
Allergies and such. Discomfort in the tum-tum, you know.
Strong as a horse, you can throw anything my way and I will always be fine. Occasionally I trip over some things and I'll hold up my little black and blue ankle.
It's funny that you mention horses. It's what the blood's from. Go ahead,
Well,
eat up.
There are no bounds to your creativity.
It's very expensive. Horse blood's not easy to come by. Goat blood's a little easier, but it's got too much of an irony taste to it, you know?
all right, so go ahead and roll your lowest attribute.
Oh, I
Reversible
rolled a
bowel
1
damage.
and a 2.
Okay. So you roll dice equal to your lowest attribute rating. You clear stress equal to your highest die result. So you got 2.
Right. So,
All right.
cool.
We got all our good rolls yesterday.
And we did.
That was a fun
Today
run. That was a good
it's
run. That was a
shit.
good run last night. That was a good
So
session.
yeah,
Good
I'm
session.
down to 5 stress.
Okay. So
I'm
anybody?
gonna say that I have some symptoms to report back to her.
Yeah,
To say that this
a little
didn't go.
gassy. Yeah, a little gassy, more than usual.
Beowulf.
Irreversible bowel syndrome, that kind of thing. I like it sounds irreversible, not irritable, irreversible. You're never getting that back.
Thanks.
Oh, goodness.
Thanks for that.
That's a good idea. Okay, so we've got some time left. So let's say this. One of the things you guys didn't do in terms of your downtime was to try to progress the hiding of your barge. You also didn't reacquire. Actually, we said that you didn't have to do another reacquire of the warehouse because you were doing the sale to kind of burn. So yeah, you were cool there, but you haven't progressed on your barge at all. Trying to, maybe everyone was too hurt, too busy to really kind of oversee. I'm not going to say no problem because that would be probably a lie. But let's say you guys are all back at your hideout, right? Your lair. You've got your various street runners that are coming and going. What would we say your lair looks like? We haven't really talked about this too much. Like, where is your lair?
We're in the
Go
night
by
markets.
I think we were talking about you guys doing like a merchant, like hiding in like some sort of the ceiling or the attic or the basement of like a merchant's guild or merchant's shop or something like that, either in night market or in Silk Shore, whatever you prefer. And so so like you're in we're gonna call it like a basement with like special alley access, so you don't have to go right through.
Like straight to the sewers or something nasty, because we're the gutter witches.
Yeah. Maybe they don't even know you're down here, or maybe it's like a sub basement beneath the shop or something like that. It smells foul, it smells like it does. It is sewers effectively,
Yeah, it's
right?
damp all the time.
Damp all the time. So you don't really sleep here. You guys all stay elsewhere. You haven't actually, right? You haven't made this your home. I don't think you took that upgrade. But fortunately, the sewers do kind of give you access to some of the. Oh, you did?
Yeah, our quarters.
We
Oh, yeah,
live
we
in
sleep
the
These are your
gutter.
quarters? You guys
Yeah.
sleep here?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys must stink all the time. Like everywhere you go,
this
you
is
smell
why-
like shit. You literally smell like shit.
Yeah, this is why things went so badly when we went to the Woodcomb
Okay.
house.
All right. So you guys are hanging around here, and you've been kind of healing up. You've been sharing the news. You start hearing, you've got these crates over here. You probably brought your crates of the spirit sap, the specialty goods, and you've got it sitting there burning a hole in your pockets, metaphorically speaking, kind of figuring out exactly what to do with this. But your dealers are kind of coming back to you from time to time, and there's a bit of a problem that apparently seems to have like you're getting a lot of your low level folk. They're quitting. Some of them are coming like, I just can't do this no more. Sorry, there's something out there. They're killing us. They're just taking us. I saw old Jimmy the other day, and he didn't even recognize me. It's like he has nothing in him. He's just like a big hollow shell of himself. And then down in Petunia. Oh God, poor Petunia. No one's seen Petunia for 3 days. It's just not like her. She's so timely and reliable. We hit the pubs together. Someone's out there. And so you're getting this report that's coming back from your dealers that it seems like someone's specifically targeting your crew, specifically in the streets, like your hunting grounds, Silk Shore area, that kind of stuff. And those that are coming back are like coming back having not made as good a sales as usual. They're not hitting their quotas. Others aren't coming back at all. And then once or twice, somebody is like dragging back to the lair what is effectively like a hollow shell of an individual whose like spirit has effectively been drained from them. They're just a nothing. There's a husk of a person. Cobb, you heard when you were at the casino, the Silver Stag Casino. You heard a little bit about what sounded like an issue with the nobility that you all encountered while you were at the Spark grounds. And at a certain point, though, that rumor starts to grow, and apparently that the Burnsides family is so distraught over the fact that of what happened that it's in the newspapers. You can see that they are defaming the Spark Grounds. They're defaming Silkshore. They're defaming every aspect of anyone who might have contributed to the harm that had befallen the Burnside child. Errol Burnsides was the kid's name. And you start putting some feelers out, and you hear that apparently that noble family, the Burnsides, have hired a group of mercenary enforcer, private investigator types led by some man by the name Karth Oris. And they're searching through Silkshore, the Ease, Fog Crest, some of the other bigger neighborhoods of Silkshore, looking for a gang of occultists who try to abduct Errol Burnsides, the son of a powerful noble merchant family. While this is all happening, you also are, we'll say, Sethla, at some point you're wandering the streets, maybe coming back from your visit to the Vale, and a cabbie stops. So a cabbie is like one of those who drive those large Akarosian goats, and out of nowhere just shows up and just says, "Miss Savoy, mail for you," and just kind of just throws over to you almost like it's a paper airplane that just perfectly coasts through the air and then kind of lands right in front of you. And you see what looks like this small envelope. It's got this seal on it of an image that you remember seeing when you were in the High Horn. Yeah, it's nothing too terrible. Okay. You think this is the unseen, and when you open it up, you can see that there's like a time, and it says the High Horn, and it seems like you are being summoned again by the unseen to some kind of meeting again over in Fogcrest. And then finally, we'll say, actually no, a couple other things. Like there's a lot of stuff that's happening right now. Things they're just kind of circling about, and you don't have to engage in all of them. It's just you guys kind of pick your way. There's a man who comes sort of looking for you, Uma, by the name of Christopher Evensteps. At least that's the name he gives you. And he got your name apparently from a woman by the name of Galena Knightley, who fixed your ankle, and said that you had a lovely chat with her while you were recovering from your surgery, and you talked on and on about your skills with chemicals and things like that, and this individual would like to pay you for your services, to poison somebody specifically with your skills, your product. This woman, this card shark over at the Silver Stag Casino that he just wants to get rid of.
Oh.
In the newspapers, you could say, you know, as you're getting the newspapers and looking at them, in addition to some of the stuff you've seen before, you see the same stories about, like, looks like the gondoliers, it looks like the Spark Warden or the Spirit Wardens have been sort of all about Silkshore, dealing with this kind of rise in activity in the canals because of this canal Leviathan issue. The gondoliers are sweeping aggressively here and there, and you catch wind at a certain point that they're encroaching upon a ruined temple in the Ease, over, I think it's by one of the bridges, I can't remember the name off my head, where some of your once living clientele tend to congregate. And so there's a concern perhaps that their engagement with that clientele might not be good for some of your ghostly folk. So you've got all these little things that are kind of coming your way over the course of like a week. You've got your dealers that are complaining. You've got a man trying to hire Uma for kind of a poison gig. You've got Cobb hearing about this mercenary named Karth Oris that's trying to hunt you all down for what happened at the Spark Grounds. You've heard about some of your clientele, your ghost clientele, are possibly in danger, and Yeah.
So this is
Anything-
what high heat feels like.
Lots of stuff coming your way. You've been
Yeah.
out
Oh,
of the
boy.
neighborhood because you've been laying low a little bit in the night market, or not necessarily, out in the streets. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you guys want to handle this? We're just going to kind of free play this shortly, and then if we have time, we'll dip into the score. So just
Oliver,
treat
I
this
think
like normal
that's-
play. Just treat this like normal, like old, like don't worry about like mechanics of Blaze in the Dark. Just like if there's any of those things that you want to just sort of like survey, study, kind of learn up some stuff, talk to people, contacts you want to like, have some RP with, to sort of learn more, those types of things, and then you can make a decision on score.
Oliver, I
See
think
what
that
the
news
unseen
that
one-
someone's hunting us is concerning.
Yeah, it's quite dangerous. I don't know if they're after our heads or. Well, sounds like they're mercenaries, so that's what they're after.
Do you think
the-
those mercenaries that night attempted the kidnapping of him? And then they just pinned it on us?
There's possibility.
We'll have to get more information. So is it which better, surveys or study?
Study,
find what the difference
I
is.
think study is more like people-ish, and
Mhm.
also, at least that's
Yeah,
how
I-
I originally
I don't know if this
imagined
is right, but I feel like study is sort of like the thing in front of you you're looking at and studying, whereas survey is kind of the more broad. Like your survey
Why
Survey,
is
is
it-
like
like an
gather
area.
information.
Yeah.
I think they're both gathering information. Like you can use them both for gathering. It's just more of a like, what kind of information are you gathering? So like survey, for instance, is you observe the situation, anticipate outcomes. So you get a better understanding of what's going on around you. You observe a location or circumstance and its features, entrances, exits, strong points, weak points, what's normal, what's unusual, that kind of thing.
Yes. So I'll speak with our dealers that are coming back and saying all these instances are happening to them. Maybe go out with them on a deal to survey the situation.
Nice.
Okay. That sounds great. That sounds wonderful.
Kind of do like a stakeout, maybe.
Yeah, you use one of your dealers as bait. Let's give them a name. Let's say the dealer that it's not Petunia, because she hasn't come back, right? So we're gonna say it's gonna be someone who goes by the name of Brahm. He's got a big old handlebar mustache.
God damn it.
Very
Brahm is
muscular,
here.
bald guy. Always carrying around a big old hubcap for some reason. It's really strange. Melissa doesn't get these jokes at all because she doesn't play League. It's fine. Sorry. It's a League of Legends character. But it's gonna be it's gonna be his name is Braum. But I'm gonna say he does actually have that big old mustache, and he is a fairly muscular guy. And maybe the drugs that he partakes in are more like steroids, HGH stuff that he gets from Uma. He doesn't really partake in like the stupor inducing drugs, but he's kind of, he's a street level dealer. He's not full on he's not full on like, actual, he hasn't risen to the point to be like a mechanical piece of your gang, but we'll use him nonetheless as bait. But we'll say he takes you like his normal area that he looks at is going to be like, you guys picked as your hunting grounds was the E's, certain areas of the E's. I put it so like it's just basically a neighborhood or two, like a couple chunks. So we're gonna say he's gonna be around the bridge of Twins, which is off the Lost Water and the Lust Water, kind of around there. And so that's kind of his streets, where his corner is around there. And so he's just gonna go about his normal business throughout the day, while Oliver, at least, is off to kind of shadow him and kind of keep an eye, see if there's anything he can figure out. Sethler, Uma, did you want to assist in this at all?
Sure.
To burn a stress to come help and say how you're helping. So I'm treating this like a gather information role, basically.
Yeah, so I will I'm a little bit less mobile, but I'll kind of set myself up outside, going to, it's like a market area. So I'm going to imagine that, one of the stalls might be sort of like an outdoor cafe-ish kind of a thing. And so I'll kind of set myself up there where I can kind of keep an eye on things a little bit from afar.
This place is a bit more. It's less cafe-ish and more like this is sort of like brothel area. Like this is the canals. You can see people are pulling up on their gondolas and they're kind of going to certain buildings that have lights, that have certain colored lights as different vices, or kind of like they're kind of color coordinated, and the people within the district kind of know, and so you pull up to those different buildings. But outdoor markets for sure. Like there's definitely people hawking wares and such as people
then I'll
kind
just
of wander
meander
by.
those.
Yeah,
like 'em.
yeah, no problem. Okay, so Oliver, you got +1 on your survey from Uma.
Okay.
Do you want a devil's bargain?
What you got for me?
What are we thinking? Anyone have an idea? I have one, but I don't want to do it because.
I don't know. You're cheesing
Oh.
pretty hard. I at least want to hear it.
So I was thinking, like, my devil's bargain is that they're gonna get Brahm. Whoever's doing this gets Brahm,
no.
one way or the other. You're still gonna gain
Aw.
information, but Brahm's going down.
No, we can't lose a problem.
Okay, can't lose Brahm.
He's a good one.
What about
Well,
we roll back on goats? You
no, I
get
think
some-
the Brahm one's good. He said
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
that's
did
fine.
say okay.
He said no.
That's fine.
Okay,
I'll
so
pass
go
it.
ahead and
I'll pass it.
roll survey.
Well, then you don't have any stress right now.
Crit success.
my.
Holy.
Wow.
A crit success.
Gee.
Okay. So you and Uma are out and you're watching. You got Uma who's kind of hiding out, kind of pretending that she's buying things, and this merchant, like these little trinkets and things people are trying to sell to like people who are coming and going to the brothels, and they're like, you should bring this back to your wife to make sure that she's not upset with you. You know, you've been gone so long, she's going to wonder, but if you've returned with gifts, her anger will be lessened somehow. And so you're in the middle of that kind of grouping of people, and they're trying to sell you some things. Oh, they have the perfect earrings to bring out the color of your eyes. These types of hawkers that are kind of coming up in your face. Oliver, we'll say you're kind of down by the water more. Now, there's narrow streets here, but there is, we'll say, like not a boardwalk as much as there sort of is like a roped, cordoned off area to sort of protect people from just randomly falling over into canals. And maybe you're doing kind of a casual lean on one of the posts and maybe smoking a little bit here and there. You're resting as your back's still kind of sore, and you're just sort of looking left and right. And Cobb, you notice that there is a pair of women on a gondolier that has pulled up. And you look at them and they have sort of a like their demeanor is one of kind of mystery, and they have an air about them in a way that says they're not here for engaging in vice. Like, they're here with intention. You can see that some of them, like one of them, has what looks like tattoos that they have tried to carefully hide underneath a high collar, and they go kind of across their neck, these sort of weird runic symbols up the wrist as well, hidden. Like, they're wearing like long sleeves with ruffles here and there to try to cover it, but you see them with your critical success. And one of them is carrying what looks like some kind of necklace, and the two of them kind of consort for a second as they get off their gondolier. They have what looks like a sort of a manservant down in the gondolier waiting with a pole to kind of push them away. And so one of them, they sort of mess around with this little pendant, and they walk up towards Brahm. One of them kind of obscuring the other with the pendant, and there you can say they're holding on to one another. So like they're in like a single file line, and they're kind of holding contact with one another, which is fairly peculiar. And as they reach out to take something from Brahm, like doing some sort of exchange of payment, you can see they knock the substance out of his hands, and they just grab his wrist, and you can see his eyes just roll back in his head. His his mustache begins to suddenly like kind of looks like it kind of goes pale, like it's losing its color, his complexion. And it's at that point, like Uma and Oliver, you notice this, and I'll ask you, like, what do you want? What would you do in this situation? Like, we're not on a score, so I'm not gonna do like full on like crazy things. But you see all of this happening, and you realize these are like whisperers. These are people of sorcerers, something like that. Like they're like what Sethla does.
We need to get him out of there. So
Right.
Uma's definitely going to jump up and go over to Oliver.
Okay. All right. So the two of you like charge in to help this guy. And as you do, one of the sisters notices you, right? And so they quickly they whisper, they say something, and as you're coming up, Oliver, you notice that pendant is like glowing, and like it's kind of hidden between them, the back of the woman in the front and like the chest of the one other. Like they've got that there, and it's kind of pulsing with some blue glow, like they're draining something from him. And at the sight of the two of you running up, they quickly like turn and they dart back towards their gondolier. Or gondola, excuse me. Gondolier is the person.
We'll check on Brom, see how he's doing.
Yeah, he's
Stand behind me. I am Brom.
something like that.
Thank you, my friends. Oh, I do not know. They're trying. I feel less of a man now than I was 5 minutes before. Oh, they have taken a part of me, but they, thanks to you, have not taken all of me. Oh, I feel very tired today. Can I have the afternoon off?
Yes, of course, but you're gonna get right back into it tonight.
Of course. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Cop, I will do this.
Those were the Dimmer sisters. I recognize them right off the gondola.
I think so. I think you are right. I have not had to engage with them before, but I do not know. Our poor friends, Petunia. They have gotten her. Think of the terrible things. What could have befallen me, your most hero.
and so thanks you. Okay. But yeah,
Uma
you get
did
a
not
good lead.
Stop to see
You're-
how he was doing. Uma's going to
Okay.
continue chasing after them.
Yeah, well, they're in boats and they're going away. But Long already mentioned it. Like, you kind of recognize. So the Dimmer sisters, what you know of them is they're recluses. They're like, you know that they live in a mansion, like a building somewhere. They kind of keep to themselves. They don't. The rumor is that they don't leave, but they have agents that leave and do their bidding. That's the rumor anyway. And they are very. They're housebound. Whispers. They mess with spirits and ghosts and things, like exactly what they are. Some people think they're just vampires. So there's all sorts of different stories that you particularly hear about them. And with the sort of increased level of activity that has been happening around here because of maybe some channeling that got out of whack and sort of raised up, it's possible that maybe they're interested in this. And it might not be the first time your group has encountered them, but they've never directly targeted you in such a fashion before.
Now I'm wondering if it's only our crew or if like other people have like been affected by this as well.
It's a great question. Sethla, I imagine you're gonna inform her at some point. But Sethla, did you want to do something at this point in terms of like gathering intel, gathering information?
Like on the Dimmer sisters.
Whatever you want. Doesn't have to be on this. It could be something else. Like, we haven't set a score yet, so like I threw a bunch of hooks out. We're in free play right now, so we're just kind of doing what we want until we kind of settle. And like, you guys can like poke and prod and collect some information on some of these hooks, and then make a decision on what you want to do next. That's totally fine.
Sethla got summoned, so she would definitely show up at the right time to meet with the unseen.
Okay, so you're gonna go. So you'll say while that's happening, you go to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and just resolve that last question for Cobb first. I'm not gonna make you roll, but there are other dealers around here. There are you guys know your neighborhood, right? You talk to the folks at the casino. You talk to some of the other vice dealers around here. People who you're not at war with, you're not friends with, but it's just like, this is your territory, this is our territory. We keep at a distance. And from what you've heard, there hasn't been anything that has happened to their dealers that has been close to what's happened to yours. Now, obviously, there's fights here and there. People go missing. Someone gets knifed. But this idea of like spirit draining has not happened to anybody. There's no reports of that, of like other vice dealers having to deal with this as well.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So you head over to the High Horn, Sethla. That's over in Fogcrest. It's the place where we started our campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the kind of the same process as you did before. You kind of go up to the third floor of this place. You sit down by yourself at this table. Maybe you smoke a little hookah, whatever it might be. Get a little drink. Over time, the third floor empties out, and you can see everyone here is replaced. Like the normal clientele are ushered out. You're not, and it's replaced instead by what looks again like, the guards, muscle folk, and you hear the familiar kind of cough and slide of the wicker, and you can hear, only one of you has joined us this evening. I hope all is well within the gutter riches.
Yeah, just checking out a few loose ends here and there.
Ah, I understand this. You have made, what is the phrase that they use? You have made very big name for yourselves of late. Very brash. We prefer to be unseen, but this is not the only strategy for acquiring power and territory. But you have done well to recognize those who have helped you along this way.
So,
I wonder, have you checked in on your standard shipment this morning? Have you spoken with your smuggling friend?
and I think he's referring to Hawksley, like one of the people who kind of helps you kind of get your standard supply.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna go after our meeting.
Ah, well, I shall surprise you then with, unfortunately, not very good news. What your friend would reveal to you is that your shipment has been seized.
Oh.
Yes. Taken.
Terrible, but still a hit to the hive.
Ah, yes. What is curious, you might find, is that it was not taken, not a hit to the hive. No, your shipment was taken. This is a hit to you.
So he's saying that like the normal drugs that you guys take in, which is not something like every score isn't about you guys collecting the product that you have to sell. Like
Yeah.
the basic machinations of your drug
usual operations.
We don't get into like the basic. That's why you guys have dealers and stuff. So like you get basic supply. He's saying that basic supply has been seized. Like your most recent shipment has been taken over by somebody.
Okay. The blue coats or?
Ah, yes, that is it's the obvious guess, you would think. And most of the time, that is the case. And while they can be very irritating, there are ways in which to deal with them that are not too difficult. No. This time, however, it was curiously someone of a different stock. I have it on authority, my own, that your shipment was taken to a nobleman over in Brightstone. And apparently, this nobleman has rumored to have very extreme vices. Now, the reason I've called you here today, you have already sussed out, perhaps, is that we suspect that this nobleman has ties to our nemesis, shall we say, the little buzzing bees who so irritatingly get into our business. And well, we thought if we could lend a hand to our young friends, and at the same time cause a problem for our oldest enemies, then that seems like a win-win.
Mutually beneficial.
So, if you are interested in reclaiming this contraband, we might be able to provide you with some useful intelligence that you might be able to act upon. For, of course, a percentage of the sales from that contraband. Yes,
Of course.
as per usual. I feel I almost insulted you to say such a thing to such good friends. But it is best to be transparent.
Oh yeah, keep all our cards. Not all of our cards, most of our cards on the table.
Ah, yes. You keep, what is it, the ace up the sleeve. But the rest can be seen. Ah, yes. Excellent. So, I shall tell you. His name is Drazen Riverford. He lives within the Hallowed Hill neighborhood of Brightstone. Wealthy merchant. His family has held that place of residence for a very long time. How has he acquired his wealth, and how has the family maintained it? Well, outwardly, they are merchants of some great renown. But between you and I, and our two organizations, we know that the true wealth that he accumulates is done underneath the table in the dark. Now, I have also, on good authority, I do know that he sometimes participates in game hawking within this very district, south of here, in Ankayet Park. Whether this is useful to you, I do not know. Now, here's the interesting wrinkle. These buzzing bees in this particular noble have a very pristine reputation amongst the city. No newspaper has ever printed an unkind word about them. They have never been caught in scandal. So, what kind of scandal might be of interest to such inkrakers, but a Riverford who for some time has insisted on cleaning the streets of vice and not engaging in the underworld machinations of our city. So perhaps you might recover your product, and that is your prerogative. Perhaps you might somehow make his acquisition of your product public. Or perhaps you just destroy it. Whatever it is, we leave that decision to you.
All right. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Oh, of course. For such good friends, I would do no less.
Thank you again. I'll have to let the rest of the witches know.
Yes. You do that. Have a very starry day.
And you hear like a movement behind the wicker, and as that happens, so too does everyone in the third floor. It just starts to funnel out. Okay. So
Draven
Drazen Riverford.
Drazen.
Drazen Riverford. Straßen Riverford.
Just say it like that. It's very fun.
Riverford.
This thing's for the throat. Okay. So you've got a lead on this issue with your dealers. You've got a lead on your stolen supply. You have heard that there is the gondoliers have been aggressively sweeping the canals and are getting close to like a little like your ghost market, basically the like your once living clientele. You still have the spirit sap. There's also claims if you all wanted to try to take a claim. So like we can continue to do more like free play info collecting if you want. But if you have an idea of like what you think you want your next score to be, we can also do that too. But if you want to collect, if there's more information you want to like look into, we can do that too. That's fine. Whatever you guys want.
So our dealers are in trouble. We don't have new supply coming in because that got stolen right out from under us.
And there's also this mercenary we haven't looked into yet. That's probably after us.
Yeah. Karth Oris.
Yes. Of the three of those, I feel like if he finds us, that will make us unable to solve either of the other problems.
We should definitely get some information on him first.
Oh, and then you have the
That'd be great.
the poison request.
We do have the poison request.
Oh yeah.
And there's that.
Yeah.
Running a gang could be so hard.
Very complicated.
Either the demonic ages.
You should watch oh yeah, the demonic ages. Yeah, that's right. That's so weird
Which we're
because that's the
supposed to-
exact term for it. I wrote it and I'm like, yeah, it's the demonic ages. That's what I rolled. It's in the tables. Yeah. Okay, so do you want to keep trying to collect some info, dig into these things some more before you
Yeah.
make a commit?
Oh, I want to head to a friendly contact that I have at a tavern.
Okay.
Name's Clyra, something like that.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Which tavern are we at? Does it say which one we're going to?
No, just that she's a tavern owner. So
Okay.
if there's any spots we can just pick.
Or
Do
you
we
could
do
just
the
give
middle bar?
you
Because
can just come up with one? The middle bar, the sand bar. What other kind of bar? We got a pudding bar already. So what kind of other bars can we do? The low bar, high bar.
So I went with
Pudding
middle bar
bar.
because that's what we've got left.
I don't know. What else could we do? The iron bar.
Well, it could be on the tangle thing, you know.
Yeah, we could. Well, that is a whole different place. That's neutral ground for like gang stuff.
Yeah. Do we want to go there? Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think
I read it
Tangletown
was
is.
neutral ground.
I think it's part of Crow's Foot technically. I'm not sure.
It is. Yeah.
I could be wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I don't care. Or we can just make it a bar, like just a regular bar. We don't even have to name it right now. We can name it later. Okay, so you're going to see your friend, your contact, your friendly contact, who is, what was her name again? Clera, a tavern owner, a good source for gossip. Okay, what are you asking her about? So you come in, she's we'll say, is she tending bar? Is she just like does the books and doesn't actually do any of the physical labor?
Yeah, she doesn't do physical labor. She's in the back, like overseeing stuff like that.
Do we want to say the bar is in Silk Shore? We want to say it's in Night Market? Do we want to say it's in Crow's Foot? We want to say.
Let's put it in Silk Shore because that's where the activity's happening.
Okay, so Silk Shore bar. All right. So let's say it's maybe we'll put it to the southeast. We'll say over by the Bridge of the Moon. And we'll call it the Moon Bar.
There you go.
Okay, so Clara working at the Moon Bar. All right, so you come in, you see her. She's got this big tangle of red hair, and she's got what looks like some kind of cloth that kind of covers through it, covers the front of it, and it kind of explodes out the back. And she sees you when you come in. She's like, "Oliver Cobb,
what do I owe the pleasure of your company?
You know I always come when I need info.
I know, it was a very sarcastic statement I just said. Nice to know that you're picking on the subtleties of social interaction. Are you sure you're a slide, after all?
I got stabbed recently, so I might be not too straight right now.
Ah, I see.
Oh, Captain, that's a good idea. We should do that at some point. We should put a bar somewhere in here. Jeremy would love that. Okay.
Ah, so what can old Clyra do for you today? Never what can Cobb do for Clyra. One day we should revisit that, of course, but what can Clyra do for you?
You know, might be someone after my head. Have you heard any noise about a mercenary?
Oh, there's no might about it at all, my friend. There are people after your head, indeed. Plural.
I kind of didn't want to hear that. But more
You
specifically,
You have upset quite a few people.
it comes with the job, I guess.
Oh, so you're called into the job now. That's cute. That's lovely. What I do here is a job. What you do, well, it is what it is. Everybody has to get by, I suppose.
So if you're asking specifically about the mercenary, right? So Karthor is his name.
I've heard from more than a patron. Very ruthless, very organized he is. Appears he's got some money behind him. The rumor is that there's something else behind the money. If you catch my drift. That this whole noble abduction thing is just a front, just a reason. And there's the true reason behind that one. Layers upon layers, my friend. Like a tiramisu.
It did seem fishy. I'm just lost at what they're trying to get after.
What potential reason could anyone possibly have to be after such a noble citizen such as yourself? You're a scoundrel, sir. A scoundrel. And I say that not with disdain.
We did come upon some sort of product. Maybe that's what they want.
Well, there's quite a bit of money behind it. And I suppose you don't have the money to pay the tab that you've left open for quite some time here.
I'll make it up to you, I promise. Once I get the coin.
No? Promises, promises. Your words are dipped in honey. But yes, I think I have heard there's more to the story. It is. There's puppeteers puppet masters that seems to be orchestrating the mercenaries. That while while the noble family might be the ones that are outwardly calling the shots, this Oris fella works for someone else entirely.
And do you happen to know who that would be?
I'll do a roll for her. How about that?
Sure.
Uh, 4 and 3. No. So she'll say,
Not precisely, no. I know it is someone with a great deal of funds behind them, and I have heard that the real reason is not even having to do with the noble at all, but apparently something else that you all took from someone. And this is just a dovetail moment where they're taking the opportunity that's presented itself to approach you all from the underground, the underworld, but also from above ground with the ink breakers, the newspapers, starting to draw attention So whatever you did, it isn't just this abduction of a noble that seems to be angering them. So think back in your brain, and I realize that the list will be very long of powerful, rich people who have you stolen from, and likely the answers within that list.
Yeah, I've got some at the top of my head, but can you at least, do you know or have heard of what he looks like so I can keep an eye out?
Ah, yes, he I have indeed. Very handsome man. Tall, broad-shouldered, beautiful beard, closely cropped with piercing blue eyes, and a large scar going down his left cheek.
Let's hope I don't run into him.
You also should be on the lookout for that Brill fella. He was in here not too long ago asking after you. He wanted to get to you somehow, harboring some sort of grudge. Apparently he too is running around with someone. Found some new group, apparently, taking on some sort of extra work for a large organization. Since you've cast him aside.
I do owe him one. He got me pretty good.
Oh, did he now? Well, you're still standing, so there's that.
It's been a pleasure. This
Oh, of
information's
course.
Quite helpful.
Don't be a stranger. Or maybe, considering the heat surrounding you, do be a stranger. Laughs at her own joke. Okay. All right. So, same question. Is there anything else we want to try to gather info on? Any other things you want to look into before you kind of commit to a score?
Uma will go ahead and take the meeting with Christopher.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll say your meeting is in a public place. It's not going to be the casino. Obviously, it wouldn't be in the night market by your lair. We'll say you find some sort of suitable
There's like an
canal
open
side.
park area. In Silk Shore,
Yeah,
there's like a big open park.
Yeah, the one to the south, Ankaya, I think it's Ankayapat Park, which is I think that's where rich people go to do their game hunting, is what I was saying before. But yeah, we can say that.
Falconry.
Yeah, falconry, because you have to go across Falcon Bridge to get there. But we'll say that there's open area that looks across one of the canals, and so you got some free area or walking, not so much a port side, but more beach side, that kind of the rocky dip down into the waters where you meet up away from prying eyes. But he shows up, and he's very kind of slender man, like exceedingly slender, with very pronounced nose, and kind of very large kind of ears and a big pointed chin. He's got this kind of gangly quality to him. Eyes are bright and wide. When he sees you, you could tell he might be on something when you meet with him. But he said,
"Oh, thank you for meeting. I very much appreciate it."
eyes just huge and wide.
You come very well recommended. Very well recommended indeed.
What? I'm a little disappointed at Galen just sort of flapping her lips and talking about my business, but maybe this will be fortuitous.
Fortuitous indeed. Yes. I tried to think about doing ways to do this on my own, but I'm afraid I just don't have the talent in that arena. You, a wizard with the chemicals and things. Yes, I hear your product is doing wonders across the district, and if you would be so kind, this woman, I will not bore you with the particular details. Ruthless, awful woman. Her name, Celeste Thistle. She is a cruel, cheating mistress who has swindled myself and so many others out of their fortunes. You see, just taking all of our money, away.
Mhm.
Cheating she does at the tables. She's very difficult to get to. She has her own bodyguards, and as you can tell from my appearance, I am not one to get into a skirmish. But I thought if ever there was a way to reach her, if you could find some way, perhaps to use one of your chemical concoctions, I will pay handsomely, of course.
You will. Is there a time frame on this? I do have another focus for my experimentation at the moment.
Of course. Your skills are in high demand. I'm sure. And your discretion, of course, which is equally as important as your skill with all chemical ingredients. Yes.
I have all the discretion in the world. I sort of question your discretion if I agree to take this on. There seems to be so much talking about my reputation and puts me at a bit of a concern.
I've heard that your group is very acquainted with getting their hands dirty in doing things that might go beyond the pale.
Oh yes, things like that don't faze us at all.
Oh, then why concern yourself with your reputation? For it seems to be in alignment with reality.
Well, if I were to find myself in jail or dead, that would be a bit of an inconvenience, you can understand.
Well, I have every faith that your discretion and your practical decision-making will prevent either such outcome from occurring.
So did this woman slight you directly? Is that your
She has
attention to this
stolen
matter?
a great bit of money from myself and from others.
And it's all through the casino? She's just better at this gambling than some of you?
He gets very, very angry when you say that.
Madam, my motivations are hardly a matter of conversation. Why does it matter? I can assure you this woman is not a very noble person. I can tell you that she spends a significant portion of her time at the card tables of the Silver Stag Casino, but I am sure she spends time elsewhere.
Understood. And what does she look like? I wouldn't want to poison the wrong woman.
Heavens, no, of course not. She's an elderly woman in her 50s with grey and white hair streaks, and she has a temper and anger and an arrogance about her that is most unpleasing. Constantly wearing this very high-collared cape that is, if you and I can be honest, is seasons out of fashion.
Interesting. Is there anything else that you think I should know?
Time frame. Sooner
Yes.
the better, of course, but if you are busy, I could take my business elsewhere.
I just can't guarantee this is going to happen this evening, but I can
Of
certainly...
course not. Of course not. Within a fortnight, at least, I would hope.
And we'll, I imagine, haggle a little bit over a price.
Sure. We won't have to RP it all out. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that cape is the real. You're totally right. That's why he really wants you to kill her, is because she's
That's what it sounded like. Really,
fashion
it's just
crimes.
fashion crimes are just inexcusable.
So we'll assume that you all make it back to your lair, hash out your various info that you've collected. What is the priority? What are we thinking?
So there's mercenaries and dimmer sisters that are muddying the waters, but I think if we align ourselves with the unseen even more, then the people that mess with us sort of kind of be like in connection with messing with the unseen. So we're like, maybe they would back off a bit.
So a strategic intervention to our situation.
You,
Yeah,
you
but I don't
scratch
know how-
their back, then they scratch yours, type of thing.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't exactly have muscle in our
Exactly.
Yeah.
group.
Yeah, no, so I think that's probably what we'll go for is that one.
Okay.
This would generate a bunch of heat and stuff, maybe. So like, this is also the other idea of like doing smaller things, like don't really get too
Yeah.
much attention, but like keep it low. But
Well, in this one, they're not technically adding to our heat, but they are. Because with the newspaper stuff, they're the ones who's really bringing us up to attention. So I feel like that's our biggest issue to deal with right now.
yeah, we just go big or go home. We're trying to make
Okay. So you want to target the noble that stole your stuff. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You cool with that, Melissa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That'll be our score for next time. We're at time for tonight. Long's got to get going. So we are at 6. It was awesome. We got a little role play in, built some stuff, got our score
Yeah.
figured out. Cool.
We've got a lot of stuff going wrong at the moment.
You guys got a wanted level of 1 already, and you and you got your heat pretty high. I was so excited when I
Had
rolled the demonic
grudges.
influence. When I rolled that, I was like, "This is so perfect." Oh, so when I rolled that, I was
Well,
like,
and you had me
"Oops."
terrified. I was like,
Sorry
oh
for
my
the echo.
God, is that what Lord Skurlock looks like? And then it hit me that it was a demon. And then I'm like, do I have a new boyfriend? And
Oh,
no, I
God.
don't.
I don't think it would be worse. Okay, we're gonna close it down then. Thank you for everyone who hung out. Thank you for the bits. I saw Karayan threw it. Keep that in the store for next time. You'll be able to use it during the score. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for throwing out some ideas. Thanks for those of you who are watching this on YouTube or watching this on VOD on Twitch later. We really appreciate that. Our next stream night is Monday, where we're going to be playing some Alien. We're continuing. We have our own little Alien universe, Cinders of Heaven, where we've been doing something for a bit. So come check us out. As the Colonial Marine crew that we are currently working with is on board what looks like an abandoned space station that's occupied by synthetics and was once used for some shady experiments. So we'll see what happens with that. Probably nothing good. Come check Melissa and I on Tuesday over on the Sirenscape Twitch channel. We're going to be starting up a Call of Cthulhu game with some of our other friends. And Wednesday I'll be on Defenders as per usual. Thursday and Friday next week are both Delta Green games. I have 2 different games going on now. Thursdays I'm over on Garbly Games, and Fridays I'm right here on our channel as we continue on Possible Landscapes. And then gloriously on Saturday, we return here to Duskfall to continue more Blades in the Dark. So, but that's it for us. I'm going to go ahead and raid a different channel, see who's up, see if we can kind of continue the fun times and so you can watch somebody else doing some cool things. So, good night, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Later,
night.
my